Ann Arbor Inclusive is produced in part with the Ann Arbor Commission on Disability Issues and CTN. The views and opinions expressed in the show do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the Commission or CTN. For more information about the Commission on Disability Issues, visit a2gov.org/disability resources. If you have program topic suggestions, please email a2disabilityissues@gmail.com.
Hello and welcome to Ann Arbor Inclusive, a program of the Ann Arbor Commission on Disability Issues. We are a program of the Community Television Network, and I'm Tom Holtland, your host. Today, we're really happy to be highlighting Easterseals of Michigan. Easterseals of Michigan is committed to changing the way the world defines and views disability by making profound and positive differences in people's lives every day. What I found remarkable is that Easterseals is well over 100 years old in our communities, and I'm very happy to be interviewing Craig Sherham with Easterseals of Michigan. But before we do that, let's take a look at a video that Craig brought along with him.
Easterseals is a place where you can come and get help that is needed.
Easterseals has been around for almost a century, and a lot of people remember us as our early days of supporting kids with physical disabilities. When you really think about us today, we serve people of all ages, and we serve people with all abilities, and a really specialty is really mental health, substance use, and autism, as well as people that experience trauma in their life. We just don't provide a service, we make a difference. Everybody that works here each and every day, they have heart, they have compassion, and they go out of their way to really do what they need to do in order to have somebody achieve their dreams and goals.
I have a belief that I am an agent of change, and this is a place where I can actually get to touch people's lives and help produce change in their lives. And that makes it just that much more beautiful.
They not only help me, they kind of help my family out, because if I'm better, I'm more value to my family. They go beyond the normal 8 to 5, and they're prepared to do any and everything to help you.
We help a lot of families in more ways than we think sometimes, and some of the things that we try to do is just provide some hope to these families that are facing so many challenges. So it's very important for me to try to do a good job in helping the families.
Easterseals has a variety of resources that can help. They like to help people with special needs and also people with disabilities, people who just need someone to speak up for them, to advocate for them. It makes you feel proud to impact someone's life.
You learn quite a lot, like different coping skills, and everyone here is super nice, very non-judgmental, and it's just kind of like a place to get away.
When I discovered Easterseals, I like the groups, the meetings they have, and listen to other people's problem, and I'm think I'm going through something by myself, but there's more people out there that's going through the same, but some worse.
The majority of people that are here because this is a calling for them. Every single one of us is touching lives every single day in probably dozens of ways that we don't even realize, and it really means something to them in their heart.
I can't say it more, but I'm proud to be here. It's a great place to be when people choose to work here and choose to stay here and choose to make a difference.
Most people who are going through something really hard want help, and you can't always do that by yourself. You might think, oh, I can't do this by myself, but I'm afraid to get help. You shouldn't be afraid to get help. This is your life. Do you want to keep feeling this way, or do you want to get help by others? And Easterseals really does that.
The legacy is that you left your mark with families, and no matter where they'll have a stamp in their life to say, you know what, I went to Easterseals and got help. I went to Easterseals and got hope. I went to Easterseals and felt loved. That's what we do.
The legacy that we have today is only going to continue to live on for future generations.
Craig, that's a really profound video that clearly shows your success in Michigan communities and beyond. But when and why was Easterseals Michigan founded?
It started actually in 1907 in Ohio, and a prominent businessman named Edgar Allen's son was killed in a streetcar accident. And he began to put together a plan to try to prevent a similar tragedy from happening. And in doing so, learned that if there was a hospital built in his town, that there's a great chance that this child would have survived. It was the distance in which they had to go to get the medical treatment that led to his death. So he began to build a hospital. That was his plan. And so he was focused on that. And in doing that, he was touring a lot of hospitals. And he realized that in early 1900s, the views of society with individuals with disabilities was very negative. It was, they viewed people with disabilities as kind of existing, but not really contributing to society, which now we know is not the case, but then they definitely thought that. And in touring these hospitals, he realized that especially children with physical disabilities were kept completely separate from other kids. And so you'd ask, why is this what they do? And he was told over and over again that children with physical disabilities upsets other people who don't have disabilities. So they kept them usually in rooms in the basement of the hospital where there's no windows. It's a little bit more separate from the main life of the hospital. And he said that this needed to change immediately. So he started what was called the Crippled Children's Society. So that's what we started as, and over time evolved. And so because it was in Ohio, we were one of the first affiliates in 1920 to be set up. And he used to come from Ohio to Michigan to help start the framework for our organization. So it was really to give kids with disabilities the opportunity to not only be kids and have similar opportunities as individuals without disabilities, but he also believed that a person with a disability should have goals, should have dreams, should be given the opportunities to accomplish those goals and live those dreams. He was going to make sure that not only was he going to set the framework for that, but he was going to build a system that could sustain itself for 100 years and continue to grow, which we've done over the last century.
So I assume it's all over the country?
Yep, all over the country. We're a national organization. We have affiliates in numerous states across the country. And the interesting thing was, and one of the way that our founder set this up was, he really wanted to make sure that we were able to meet the needs of the community. So we were going to change over time. And I think sometimes when people think of Easterseals now, they think of different kind of eras of Easterseals, where they might think, oh, you guys only help children. Well, that's not the case anymore. We help all ages. We don't just do physical disabilities. We have moved on to including emotional disabilities, things like depression and mental health disabilities. And we've branched into different areas. Other affiliates in other states do similar sort of evolving to meet those ever-changing needs in the community. I know in Florida, there's a big push to help individuals with Alzheimer's and help them to remain living independently. We are a very close-knit group of individuals. We work together very well and very often, so we're not separate from everybody else, but we definitely operate differently and are in different areas of disability services.
What are you folks doing today, having said that?
One of the big things that we're focused on, especially this past year and a half, has been mental health services. That's probably our largest service line. And one of the things that drew me to Easterseals was that Easterseals, it was about unlocking that person inside them that they might not realize they had the power to do that. And the reality is when someone sets a goal themselves, and is given the tools within themselves to accomplish that goal, they're much more successful in that. So we build a support structure to kind of surround the individual and help them. But it's really up to that individual to also continue to look within themselves to proceed on their path to accomplish their goal. So we do a lot of mental health services. We have a baseball league for kids with physical disabilities. We have two, we have one in Southfield and we have one up in Lake Orion. And that is for children and young adults to not only learn teamwork and have exercise, but to also set goals for themselves. We've had a lot of children with cerebral palsy start to take their first steps outside of the braces at the league because they're not thinking about being in therapy. They're having fun with their friends, they're having fun with their family around them, and they start to take those steps, and it's amazing. So we have those. We also have a farming program that helps farmers, and Michigan has a very strong farming community. And as those farmers have gotten older, many of them are faced with the fact that their children don't want to take over the farm. So they're having to farm longer. They're having to work later into their life than they would like to. And they are starting to, as we all know, farming is a very hardworking profession. It's a very strenuous profession that takes a toll on your body. And we also have autism services. So we have a number of locations that not only do assessments to help diagnose an individual with autism, but to also get them started on their treatment and get them into the process of understanding their spectrum disorder.
Back to the farming initiative, does that mean that individual consumers of Easterseals of Michigan are placed with said farming community or a specific farm to help with the labor?
Yeah, no, well, we usually, it's a little bit different. We'll have farmers who will contact us and say that in some cases, like a limb loss. Like we had this young man, he was in his mid-20s. He was just taking over his dad's farming. He was a hay farmer. And one day he was, tired out there working, kind of a lapse in judgment. He decided that there was the way that the hay baler will work. Sometimes hay will get caught up in the baler, and because of the friction that starts to generate in there and the heat and the dry hay, it's a number one cause for massive fires that take place on hay farms. So he went to go just remove this clump of hay that was just kind of spinning around, didn't realize what was about to happen, but his hand got caught in the hay baler, and he had to have his hand amputated. And so now here he is at the start of his career, and he lost a limb. So we came out there with we have an engineer and some other strong community partners, and we went out to the farm and assessed the situation, what he needed to continue to work, and went to work at making things. I was out at his farm. He gave me a tour of it, and it was unbelievable the number of things that we not only were able to secure for him, but things that our engineer himself made. Would get out there and weld extra steps, on things so he can reach up there easier with one hand, start to put those things in place so he can continue farming. And I talked to him not too long ago, and he's doing great, and he's thankful for all of those services, and he's able to continue farming and move forward with his goal of being a hay farmer. So we do things like that all over the state. These are farmers who have gotten injured on the farm, or they've just have such arthritic condition. They have bad back, bad knees, and we'll work to enhance their equipment so that they can continue farming.
There are obvious reasons in the last year and a half why organizations, businesses everywhere have had challenges, but specifically to Easterseals of Michigan, what are some of the challenges you faced and you face today for any number of reasons? Sure.
Well, just with the service delivery in general, I mean, with the COVID outbreak, we were faced with how do we serve, we serve over 15,000 people a year. These are people who depend on us for services. How do we do that? So we went to work immediately. We never closed. We always remained open, taking we had weekly, for a while there was daily meetings to discuss just the protocol for making sure that everything was safe and everyone was remaining healthy. But one of the things we started doing was we had already started doing telehealth medicine. And so we decided to ramp that up. But then you run into the challenge of, even if we put it into place, how do we get devices into the hands of some of the people that we serve who don't have, they might not have a tablet or a cell phone. So thankfully, some community partners helped us build this sort of loan program that allowed us to loan out tablets and devices to those individuals. And when you start to deal also with the mental health side of things, there's added stress and anxiety with coming out in public. So the telehealth helped a great deal with that. And then we also had to look at our autism service side and say, well, how do we do autism services through telehealth? Because so much of what we do is so hands-on and is so face-to-face. So we tried to make that work. We made kits and delivered those individualized kits, specialized kits that with the spectrum disorder, kids fall on this spectrum. So it's not a one-size-fits-all program. So we went and the team over there made individualized kits to each individual's needs, and started to get to work and delivering them to the homes and leave them on the front porch. And then they started doing a lot of telehealth that way. But we even did virtual potty training, which was, we had never, ever done that before. But potty training a child on the spectrum is extremely difficult. It takes a long time to do. And we had so many kids that were already in the process of learning that we didn't want them to regress. So we said, we've got to figure out a way to do it. We have potty trained tons of kids over the past year virtually, which we had never done before. We weren't about to let something like that get in the way of us helping these individuals that we serve to accomplish their goals. And so we just had to go digital in a lot of ways to make it happen. It was a fantastic challenge to rise to, but that's what Easterseals has done for 100 years. So, I mean, we were there through polio, we were there through, some numerous wars, we were there through a lot of other outbreaks and things. And so this was just another one in our history. So.
Can you tell me what it's like to work there?
It's one of the best places I've ever been a part of. I mean, they care about everybody. It's really more of a family. We actually don't like to call each other like co-workers, or it's just like a family here. And I think it's because we all have a committed, passion for the people that we serve. I think being here and seeing families come in and out of our location and seeing them, seeing the kids holding their parents' hand and kind of skipping out to the car, knowing that they had a great session today and that they feel like they're moving forward. I get videos and letters all the time from people thanking us for services. We do a lot with veterans, and I just got a voicemail from a veteran that just said, I just want to let you know you guys saved my life. I came back from service and I had PTSD and I don't know what I would have done without you guys. We get those things all the time. And that's really, I think, what fuels us to get up every morning and come into work, to make that difference, because we know it works and we know that we're doing that. So it's fantastic. It's a great organization to work for. They're very, the work-life balance is very good. I mean, we were very committed to making sure everyone has time for their hobbies, and is very supportive of the fact that people have families and people have things that they have to tend to in their lives. So it's very much like working with family. And we have over 550 employees across the state that no matter where you go or who you talk to, if we're part of the Easterseals gang, if we're all together, we get along great, and everyone works towards that goal.
Tell me a little bit more about the baseball program that you mentioned earlier. How does that work? Is it all ages? Give us the run through on the baseball program.
Baseball has been part of Easterseals since its early days. So it's something that not only builds teamwork, but it also, for some children, it's the only time they ever see somebody who's also in a wheelchair that's their own age. It teaches able-bodied siblings to cheer. One of the things that we hear all the time is, I'm so used to cheering for my family, it's great for them to cheer for me. I've never had that happen before. There's all these little parts of the league. Yeah, there's these parts of the league that are just amazing. It also teaches parents their child is able to put their mind to something and accomplish it. We had a girl that was blind that wanted to play, and her family was kind of like, I don't know how you guys are going to make this happen. And we worked out a clapping system so she knew when to swing. And it took a while, it took a little bit, but she connected, and the look on her face when she realized she had done it was so touching. But also to see her family realize she's going to be okay. This is just part of who she is. This doesn't define her. This doesn't restrict her. It just is part of who she is, and she's going to set her mind to something and accomplish it. The league serves, we have children as young as 4 and 5 years old that play. That's in our non-competitive league. So that's really, they come out, they learn how to hit. There's no outs. There's no, you can swing as long as it, as many times as it takes. We have buddies that help make sure that they can help hit. If they need it, or if they need help running the bases, they can have a buddy that helps to support that. It's kind of a safe space where the families can kind of come out and just watch their kids. The field is specialized rubber, so children with walking devices or wheelchairs, it doesn't they don't get run, they run into sand or grass. It's like a rubberized track, so they get great traction on that. And some of the kids, as they've gotten older, said that they wanted to start keeping score. So we started a competitive league for that. So we have a competitive and non-competitive league. The older kids, and when I say older, I'm talking about 17 plus, are in our non-competitive into young adults. And we have the parents of the coaches, and we have a great sound system out there, and we do a lot with music. It's really major league feel to it. We have nicknames for all the players that they love. And so we announce them as their nickname, and they come out and everyone high fives. And we also build concession stands that also offer employment opportunities for some of those individuals that if they play in the field, but they get to be maybe 16, they want to have some money, want to get a job, we can also have them work the concession stands. So they can learn about that as well. So
food safety, food preparation.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Service.
Yeah, and so we're right now we're building a concession stand at our second field, and that's construction's underway with that. We had a little girl come to us and say she wanted to have a dance program, so we started a dance program. She said she wanted to be a ballerina, so we said, well, let's figure out how to make her a ballerina. So she's part of a dance program, and we partnered with a dance school that comes out and teaches them dance moves, and they perform at Easterseals functions, and they've also performed at community events. They love it. We've had kids come to say they want to do bowling. So we do bowling in the winter. So they have a social outlet. We also do a football camp every fall. And some of the Detroit Lions will come out and let the kids learn how to take a catch or throw or tackle. And that's been fantastic as well. So we listen really to what the people we serve want and try to do whatever we can to make sure that we can build an infrastructure for that to happen as well. And I think that's why so many people have different ideas when they think of what Easterseals is.
Let's talk about, you touched base a little bit about it with the potty training and how you had to do that virtually, but what other challenges did the pandemic produce for you folks, and how did you meet those challenges?
Well, we also ran into a lot with fundraising challenges. We had to get creative with fundraising challenges, and fundraising difficulties. And luckily, we had some strong community partnerships. What's really interesting to know is that 96 cents out of every dollar goes to the services in Michigan. So it's amazing that we're able to do that thanks to so many partners that make donations for us to support our mission. So yeah, fundraising became a challenge. We did whatever we could to kind of adjust certain positions so that people can stay employed. We didn't lay off anybody. We didn't have to shut down any branches. We were committed to remaining open. And we still saw people face to face because we had to do things like injections. We have doctors and nurses and a pharmacy on staff that help to do that too. So it was really about just making sure everyone stayed safe and healthy.
So if our viewing audience is watching this and thinks, wow, that's a great organization, I didn't know this about Easterseals, how can other folks get involved? I imagine, most nonprofits are looking for volunteers, but how either, tell us about a volunteer program or how the general community can get involved with your efforts.
We are starting to do the volunteer program up and running again. So they can go to Eastersealsmichigan.com and look for volunteer opportunities there. They can also attend events. We have an event coming up in Grand Rapids in September. We're going rappelling, a rappelling event during Art Prize, which is going to be a lot of fun. It's a big party. So they can learn about that on our website as well. And we also have a gala coming up in December, which is a great a great opportunity to attend those. We also have raffles that take place, and again, that money stays in Michigan and it goes right to our services. So they can get involved and buy a raffle ticket and support us that way, or they can just like us on social media, our social media platforms, and become engaged that way as well.
You mentioned the gala. Is that an annual thing?
Yes, yeah, it's not your traditional gala. It's like food trucks, live music. The kids will perform. Our dance team will perform, and we just have a great fun time. It's a kickoff to the holiday season. So I think this year we're doing like Winter Wonderland theme. So there's going to be a lot of cool things tied into that we're putting together right now.
And where will that be?
That is in Auburn Hills, Michigan.
Okay, all right. I did want to ask you actually where those baseball fields are.
We have one in Southfield and one in Lake Orion, Michigan.
I always like to ask my guests, is there any story that stands out as one of your favorites, or where you just were blown away by the result of someone in need, and how you met those needs? Is there something that comes to mind over your tenure there?
There's a woman I met who was an ambassador back in the 60s at a time where a lot of children were still being kind of treated differently in society. And I just met with her a couple years ago, and she was retiring to become a teacher. She had cerebral palsy, and she was told by the hospital and school system to just take her home, teach her the basics, but it's not an inclusive school. It's not something that there's going to be a lot of opportunities for her to go beyond, being someone that you just keep at home essentially. And her parents didn't like that. So brought her to Easterseals. She became one of the only individuals on the campus of Michigan State to have a wheelchair and have a disability. She graduated from Michigan State with a degree in teaching, which was very rare at that time. And she moved down. Yeah. And she moved down to Texas because she needed a place where there was no winter because of her wheelchair. And she helped this town not only become inclusive, but also accept the ADA, Americans with Disabilities Act. She helped implement that. Her name is actually on the City Hall building to help get that accessible for individuals and with disabilities. And she got married and had kids and a successful career in teaching, and she owes it all to Easterseals. She said, it seemed like no one outside of my family believed that I could do any of this except for Easterseals. And so that was probably one of the most powerful stories, because it showed how many decades of impact we've and that's one individual, and we've helped hundreds of thousands of people over the years. So but that one stood out as being a really impactful one, because that's really what we're about. We believe that everyone can accomplish what they set their mind to, and we just want to help them do that.
Tell me a little bit more, because it's coming up soon, about what you're doing in Grand Rapids during Art Prize.
Yeah, it's an over-the-edge rappelling event that takes place at Bridgewater Place. So we will rappel over the side of the building to face our fears and raise funds for our services. Who's we? It's with us. Over the Edge is an organization that is partnering with us, Easterseals, and we're going to together. They handle the rappelling side of things. They're experts at putting that together. So they run all the safety protocols and everything, so that it is a safe and enjoyable event. Well, Craig, this has been a great eye-opening experience. And great material for Ann Arbor Inclusive. I really appreciate you coming out today and just shedding a new light on Easterseals for us and for our audience. So I thank you again for joining us. Oh, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it. Sure. Yep. And we'll look at your website for those events coming up. But this has been Ann Arbor Inclusive, a program of the Ann Arbor Commission on Disability Issues. We're glad that you could join us, and we'll see you next time on Ann Arbor Inclusive. Thank you.